Stop. I said stop. So before you make any New Year money plans, before you start making New Year resolutions, before you start writing your goals, before you say this coming year, 2026, will be different, I need to tell you something that many people, most adults, don't want to hear. And every year I say the same thing about the same time. What is it? It's simply that if you enter January with the same money habits, with the same thinking, and the same emotional relationship with spending, 2026 will look exactly like 2025. And this is not what you want. And many people have been running this cycle. Their money situation in 2025 was exactly what it was in 2024. And that's exactly what it was way back in 2020. And these things just don't change on their own. Do you know that as I'm speaking with you now, that in the neighborhood around here, there's lots of fireworks going on. In Nigeria, they call it knockouts. Lots of fireworks. So between Christmas and the New Year, fireworks, they call knockouts. Explosions everywhere in celebration. I keep wondering what that thing was. And then one day, I found out that those things are not cheap. I found that these fireworks are not cheap. And the people who are throwing these knockouts, these fireworks all over the whole place, they are poor people. They are poor people. Now, all the money that they made because now, in the part of the world where I am right now, people usually travel massively for the Christmas break. So right now, as I talk to you, people came from different parts of the city to celebrate Christmas. So, and what usually happens in 1 week between Christmas and the New Year, people blow up. They literally burn up all the cash and everything that they earned from January to November. And then January, they start all over again. Financial freedom is basically wisdom. There's nothing complicated about it, and you don't need to go to school for that. If you're spending money, you're disrespecting money, you're burning cash, you're cannibalizing your capital, where are you going to be financially free? It's not rocket science. But that's what people do. That's what people do. And then I was at a fueling station, well, my American friends, you call it gas station, to fill my tank the other day. And somebody came, so you had these young girls at the filling station as fuel attendants. And while I was there filling up, another young woman came up with an exercise book. So about this size, an exercise book and a pen. And then the young lady at the gas station attending to me brought out some money. I don't remember how much it was, but she brought out some money and gave to this girl, and she recorded it. So it's some kind of microfinance thing. And they do it daily, whether they call it daily contribution or something. So they contribute this money. And I said, wow, that this is wonderful. Meanwhile, I had engaged her in conversation while we were there, asking her why she was not in school, because it was a school day. Oh, she said she dropped out of school like 4 or 5 years before that time. I said, why did you drop out of school? She said her father was dead, that her father died, and then no one to take care of her education. So I prayed for that. I said, wow, okay, this daily contribution you make, that's a lot of money. And I figured out at the time that from that contribution, that it was possible to make 100 or even 100,000, for a girl in the village. That's a lot of money in contributions, even far more than that, like 150. So I now said, okay, That's wonderful. And I'm trying to put two and two, together. One, this girl is able to save this kind of money, but she is unable to go to school because she said nobody can sponsor her. But that money, what she's accumulated doing that for 5 years, could have at least sent her through secondary school. So in curiosity, I said, all right. So when you get, what happens to this money? She said in December that they give them back the money or something that they contributed. And I asked her, what do you do with your money? She said, so, a young girl has to look good now. So I buy clothes. I buy things to look nice. And I buy myself, latest earrings and watch and all that. And I said, no wonder poor people are. So being poor has absolutely nothing to do with cash. It has nothing to do with money. Sometimes poor people earn more than financially well-to-do people. Do you want me to prove it to you? Yeah. I have artisans who work for me. Some of these artisans, plumbers, mechanics, technicians, electricians, all kinds of people, some of them net 50 to even sometimes 100,000 naira a day. That's in Nigeria. I don't know about Ghana. I don't know about Zambia and all the different places you're watching from. You can let us know. Some of you watching from the Caribbean. Now, that's a lot of money. Now, 50,000 naira a day. My mechanic probably earns 4 times that, because I know how much I pay him when he works for me. And do you know what? Most graduates don't earn that kind of money. Sometimes what artisans earn in one day is what graduates, university graduates, earn in 1 month. I'm not kidding you. Some of you can confirm if you are listening. Literally look like I'm making these things up. What some of these artisans, plumbers, anybody. In fact, a plumber came to work for me the other day. His workmanship was 40,000 naira to fix my pump or to service my pump. 40,000. He just walked out of that place. 40,000. Within a couple of hours, he was done. And then went to another place. So in one day, this guy can do 120, 150,000. How many graduates earn that? Do you get what I'm saying? So this girl makes lots of money. She saves all this money. Then at the end of it, she says that, a young girl has to look nice. So she burns all that cash she accumulated in the whole year. And then January, she starts all over again. And then we might blame her and say, okay, well, she's not whatever. But many of us are doing exactly the same thing. So that's why I'm saying that if you enter January with the same money mindset, the same money habits, the same money routines, the same spending habits that you had in 2025, 2026 will look exactly the same way. It's just going to be a different calendar, but it's exactly the same money stress. But tonight, I'm going to change that for you. I'm about to change that for you because tonight, I'm going to give you, it's not about money resolutions. That's far from me. We won't even talk about setting New Year resolutions. I mean, how far does that work for you? The weather is quite warm these days. We used to have Harmattan, but it's no more Harmattan these days. Okay, so tonight I'm going to share with you 7 simple money moves you must make before January 1. Before January 1, that's exactly 1 week away. So moves that are so basic, but most adults skip them, and then they wonder why money never seems to move forward with them. So if you give me the next couple of minutes, I'll help you clean up your last year's money, your 2025 money decisions. I'll help you clean it up so that next year doesn't punish you for them. Is that a good thing? Is that exciting? So to clean up your money decisions and give you a powerful template with 7 moves that if you make it, this time next year, you won't recognize yourself. And some of your friends won't recognize you. And all I'm asking is that you come back and testify on this video that you did these 7 money moves I'm going to tell you about, and that it took you to places that you never imagined. Are we ready for them? Say yes. Say yes in the comment section. I want to make sure that you are following. Say yes, 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 yes. Yes, absolutely. 7 money moves. Right. Tammy Victor says yes, yes, absolutely, yes. So grab a pen, grab a paper, because the first move is not planning forward, it's looking backward. So why don't we dive straight into money move number 1? Drum roll. Money move number 1. Take stock of the year that just ended or that's about to end. Take stock of 2025. You see, before you plan forward, you must look backward. Do you know, have you found yourself in some of these busy airports in the world? Some really very large airport like Chicago O'Hare, or what is this airport in Dallas? Is it Bush International Airport, something like that? The one in Dallas, Heathrow is big, but not as big as Chicago O'Hare. So when you go, because I remember Chicago O'Hare particularly because once my family was traveling through there from Chicago through London, I wasn't with them, and they almost missed the flight. Going from where they were, the gate that they came into Chicago from, all the way to the gate that was leaving for London, because it's a massive airport and you can actually get lost. You've been to some of these airports where you actually get lost, not like some of these local airports that we have around here. Now, there's something that's very prominent in these airports you will always see. First is that you are going to see a lot of signs and directions and all that. They saw a lot of signages, both digital and then manual signs all over the airport directing you. Why? Because it's so easy to lose your way. But there's one particular thing you will notice in these big airports. So sometimes you're standing at a corner, you lose orientation, you don't even know, should you take the escalator down, take the lift up, do what, so, and then usually you will see something that looks like I don't know what to call it, but it's not quite a milestone. No, there is this like signage pillars, and then you see the entire map of the airport, the entire schematic of the airport. Then you are going to see a dot somewhere on that map, and you're going to see an arrow that points to that dot and says, "You are here." How many of you know what I'm talking about? You've seen it in these big airports. You have that dot and it says, "You are here." And it's so powerful because it now gives you orientation. Because when you know where you are, you can now plot your bearing to the gate, to the place you're supposed to go. But if you don't know where you are, it's going to be very difficult, for you to know where you are going. So that's why the money move number 1 is exactly the same thing in your finances. If you don't know, if you can't locate yourself in that arrow that says you are here in your finances, it's going to be difficult for you to plot the next year. So that's why that is the very first move. Take stock of the year that just ended. So here is the exercise, just on one page. You can take note of the exercise and do that later. So on one page, you write 2 columns. One column, you say, what worked with money this year? What worked? Very simple exercise. What worked? And then on the other one, what didn't work? Okay? Because those who prosper learn from both success and failure. You've got to know where you are doing well. You've got to know where you are not doing well. If you know where you've done well in your money in 2025, then you can scale it in 2026. If you know where you didn't do well with money in 2025, then you don't want to repeat it in 2026 because it's going to land you in the same space. So I need you in this same move to name the real money lesson of the year, like your top money lesson of the year. In fact, we need to do that exercise, right now. because every year teaches you something about money. Every year teaches you something about yourself. If you look back to all your years, maybe you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or even 60s listening to me. And some of you in your 70s, because I know my audience listening to me. If you look back carefully, you will see that every year taught you one money lesson. But how many of us have kept money? Do you know what it means? Like, I'm 60. Do you know what it means to have kept 60 money lessons? Or at least, let's say, since I left school, I graduated from the university, I was 22. So let's say in the past 30 something, 38 or something years, if I've kept money lesson, do you know that would be a powerful thing to do? So I'm going to give you my example, because I've done this exercise. I'm telling you, as a coach, I actually coach myself. I design exercises. I run it myself using that's why when I talk to you, it's so real, so practical. It's not motivation, it's factual, it's reality as much as it gets. Why? Because the thing has passed through me and I've done it, and I know what the result of doing that exercise is. So I need you to tell me, if there was one money lesson, everybody do this exercise, and I would like you to read other people's money lessons, because in their money lessons we will also learn. And I'm very certain I'm going to learn a lot from all of you typing down their money lesson. Remember, this is a coaching session. It's not just teaching. So I need you to write in the comment section, what was your real money lesson? One money lesson that you had this year. Everybody type. So while you are typing, because I'm going to take some time and read what you have written, and then while you are doing that, I can share my major money lesson this year. I can give you another one, because I have a couple of money lessons, like 3 key money lessons this year that I'm going to move with into 2026. My number one money lesson this year is that when you have the hunger to invest, the money will appear. And somebody can type my money lesson so that other people joining late can see it. That was my number one money lesson. Do you see how powerful that is? That when I have real hunger to invest for the future, money to invest magically appears. That was one of my most surprising lessons this year, because I invested aggressively this year. I'm 60. So I can't invest at the same pace that you 20-something-year-old. I can't invest. Mine's got to be aggressive. It's got to be aggressive. And then people think, okay, the older you get, the less you take risk. That's what conventional money wisdom tells you. But this year I went all in. I went all in with risk. And I jumped into the riskiest class you can talk about. I jumped into it on my 59th, that I'm 59, as I'm turning 60. Crypto. And I poured thousands of dollars in crypto. When I look at my crypto asset, and of course the thing has been decimated by all the crypto bear market that we've been experiencing. But it's also part of a lesson, because this thing is a game of patience. And so my portfolio is decimated by probably 50-60%. But I dived in, this year. But the point I'm making is that money lesson for me is, I look at what I put in crypto, and my goodness, I can't tell you sitting here where the money came from. But so when you have a burning hunger, not just any hunger, burning desire to invest, the money to invest magically appears. So that's my money lesson. All right, so everybody take time, write your money lesson. What's your one money lesson for 2025 that you're going to bring forward to 2026? So I'm going to read your comments so that everybody can read, and then those who are watching a replay of this live session can benefit from it. Okay, Ade says it pays a lot to invest early in a year, considering year to date on the NGX in 2025. Fantastic lesson. That's true. That is absolutely true. Some of the stocks that I've been telling you to buy since November and this December, like today, those of you in the Financial Fitness Challenge, I did a lot. There were at least 3 stocks I told you to buy at today's price because the NGX closed very early today. And it looked like some sellers were desperate to sell off and perhaps to have some money, for the season. So the prices today were incredible. I was surprised. What I got, Dangote sugar. I've been planning to get quite a bit of it. And then today, within the trading window, I just saw, a powerful window. And then I put in at a limit and I was shocked. It was filled. And then shortly after that, it shot up again. But do you know that these stocks you're buying, like Dangote sugar, 58 naira, 60 naira, 59, 50 today, by this time next year, you will also be, you probably see you may see that stock at 300, at 400, and people will be wondering, why didn't I buy? Because something happened. Something happened around this same time last year. Better Glass was selling for about 30 or 40 naira. And then Better Glass went from 40 naira in November, December to 400 and something within the year, returning over 400% within 7 months, 6 months, first 7 months of a year. So that's a very good lesson. That's a very good lesson. And now you've learned that lesson. Nobody can take it from you. That's why I'm saying that your money move this week. Forget all this. In fact, do you know that tomorrow is Christmas Day? I'm still going to be here tomorrow. Do you know why? Money doesn't have public holiday. Public holiday is just your emotions and your whatever. Money doesn't have public holiday. And I'm telling you, while many of you are busy burning money tomorrow, buying cow, chicken, eating rice, many wiser people will be making tons of money because they're the ones selling the rice, selling the chicken, selling the everything for you. God bless farmers. I was at the abattoir today. The number of cows I saw there. So money doesn't have public holiday. While you are burning money, somebody else is collecting it. So I'd rather be on the part, where I'm making money. So I'll be here tomorrow and I'll be here, New Year, talking to those who will listen. Because the powerful thing about what I do, this daily coaching session, is that it's actually building me up. Did you know that? It's actually helping me more. Because I find that in communicating these things to you, it becomes clearer to me. And because I'm giving to you freely, I am getting so much more knowledge, understanding in return. And when you talk with me, or when you listen to me talk, you can tell that I'm different. Many of you come to the comment section, you say, oh, this thing, you've been built up, you are being built up. And then one of you commented today, and I think I responded to that comment, and you were saying, now, Mr. Obuna, I understand from your video what has been happening to me, that I've been investing like crazy. Ever since I started listening to you, I have been investing. And some other person will say, oh, since I started listening to you, my attitude, my perspective about money has changed. Because if you want your money situation to change, your perspective about money must first change. So that's a fantastic lesson. Everybody, keep it coming. What was your money lesson this year? Okay, Michael Obasi says, my money lesson this year is this: never lose money. Don't invest in what you don't understand. If you cannot explain it to a 10-year-old comprehensively, it's probably not worth your money. Very good. Very good. And I need you to grow that lesson a little bit. To grow it a little bit as you're going into 2026, grow it a little bit. In fact, it's one of the moves I'm going to talk about. So I'll refer to it when I get to that, one of the moves. If you see an asset class, something to invest in that is solid, not a get-rich-quick thing, but it's a solid asset class. For example, crypto, and you don't understand it. It's true. Don't put your money in it. Powerful lesson. But don't stop at that. Go the next step. Learn about it. Invest in learning about it. Then you put money in it. So that your lack of understanding of a particular investment class, a particular asset class, will not keep you from benefiting from doing that. Because there are so many people who because they don't understand stocks, they are not investing. And there are many people in their 40s, in their 50s, they don't have one single stockbroking account. And they'll be asking, how can I buy? I see comments on social media, people asking, how can I buy stocks? How can I buy stocks? People in their 40s asking, how can I buy stocks? So, powerful lesson, but don't stop there. If you see an asset class that's actually very, very profitable, instead of just saying, I don't understand this, so I won't put my money, use that money to invest in your education about that asset class. And then, go in, because wealthy people take risks, and they take controlled, I call it controlled risks. And that's what makes them wealthy. Okay, so let's take a few more. Ebube Africa Media says, I was confused on what to do regarding coming out of financial struggles until I realized that my freedom was hidden in mentorship that is guiding me away from the struggle. Fantastic. That's a powerful lesson. That's a very powerful lesson. Mentorship and coaching, paid coaching, was what took me out of the financial doldrums. As I was leaving Shell, as I was quitting Shell, I realized that the competencies I had as a Shell staff were not the same competencies I was going to need as an entrepreneur. So you know what I did? I paid for mentorship. I paid for coaching. So I paid Robert Kiyosaki, his company. So they had, at that time, 2007, they called Rich Dad Coaching. I paid them. At that time, it was $7,000 for 3 months coaching. Immediately I paid for that coaching, they gave me access to do a profiling, one of the most powerful things I've done in my personal development. So it was called Winslow Profile. I never heard about Winslow Profile on profiling until I went for Robert Kiyosaki coaching. Man, and the things I'm doing today, helping businesses, leading board retreats, leading company retreats, helping companies to find revenue, to find strategy, helping companies develop leadership. It started from that coaching. Then from there, I invested in other kinds of things, certifications like MBTI, because being an MBTI practitioner was very important for me for coaching. I spent a lot of money. It was in Florida that I went for my MBTI certification. And then shortly after that, I also went to Sarasota in Florida, Center for Executive Coaching, and certified. I paid tens of thousands of dollars, doing that. So coaching, and I can tell you, I've recovered all those investments I made in coaching, paying Billie Jean is marketing, based in San Diego. I also registered for his coaching, and it was $10,000 in marketing. Paid another lady, Jennifer Deep Stratton. I paid her $500 a session for 8 sessions. And then they coach 8 sessions of 1 hour, $500 each. I paid her. Do you know what she did with me? Basically one thing, communicating your value. So today you see me, I'm streaming, I'm talking here, I'm on television, everything. All those coachings pay. And then, so I paid her, that was $4,000. I've made that money back multiple times within and outside the country. So that's a very powerful lesson. And many people underestimate mentorship and coaching. And by the way, if you are not part of the Financial Fitness Challenge, I think you're leaving money on the table. That's my mentorship group. And I promise that from January, we're going to be having a lot of constant hand holding into investing, into helping you clarify your systems, your money systems, so that you're making money is not just random, and then you're not just buying random stocks. Then exposing you, teaching you tools that you can use to analyze stocks, AI tools that I developed myself, because I'm not an investment banker. But I tell you, I invest much better than 99% of investment bankers. And I still don't know anything they're talking about because I use AI. I build prompts that I use to analyze financial statements of companies. So I go to NGX Corporate Disclosure and I did it today. I did it for Maya PLC. And that was how I discovered that is going to be one stock that will explode. In fact, I can't wait for the next trading day. I'm going to be the first to invest in that because I looked at their financials. So I use AI scripts that I've developed to analyze financial statements. And then even when I was analyzing Maya today, I discovered that one of my very, very close friends, in fact, someone I call a mentor, is actually a director with Maya. And then they've had fantastic 9-month results, and very likely that their full year result is going to be fantastic because usually people use a lot of paint, toward the festivity periods, to paint their houses. It's very common in the UK, but here people also do it. They buy, paint houses. They want their houses in the mansions in the village, to look very good, especially those Anambra billionaires. Paint everywhere and all that. So it's very likely that their last quarter result is going to be fantastic. So I'm going to buy on Monday. And so if you're not in the Financial Fitness Challenge, you are hurting your finances, especially in 2026. And you can join right now. Okay, so when we are done, just go to the comment description section. You'll find a link to join. You can be added to the group right now. As a matter of fact, you need to join today because there are 2 things I'm going to do in the Financial Fitness Challenge mentorship group before the year ends. One, this coming Sunday, I'm going to take the group through portfolio planning. So you plan your 2026 plan portfolio, because it's something that I call portfolio intelligence. Wealth is more about your portfolio intelligence. There's a difference between constructing a portfolio that will give you wealth and just selecting stocks. There's a difference between collection and portfolio. And the way you create your portfolio for 2026 can shock you in the amount of wealth you will create from what you have by the end of 2026, because there is power in portfolio. A very good portfolio can put more money in your pocket than you dreamt about in 1 year. And a very poorly planned portfolio will multiply your financial stress. You'll be investing, you'll be working hard, and then you're not going to see any results. So join the Financial Fitness Challenge immediately after this. Go to the comment section and then register. Okay, let me take 2 more lessons and then we move to the second move. Augustine said, my money lesson this year is consistency is the best way to approach investing. With consistency this year, I have doubled my net worth. Woo! That's what I wanted to hear. Fantastic. You can double your net worth. And meanwhile, when I'm working with a group this month on planning portfolio, we are not going to be talking about doubling net worth. We're going to be talking about 10x in net worth. And then if I'm teaching it, it's because I've done it and it's because I've helped other people do it. It's not motivation. But there are many things, personal things one can't disclose it. But I can tell you, it works. If you can double it, you can also 3x it. You can also 3x it. You can also 10x it in 1 year. And that is what portfolio intelligence, helps you to do. Okay, watch one day says, My number one money lesson was that of delayed gratification. My wife and I were able to save an emergency fund. Oh my goodness. You guys are making me happy. You're just telling me like what I wanted to hear. This is good. So delayed gratification, that's, I like to hear that language, delayed gratification. And then because of that, you were able to create an emergency fund. How does it feel going into 2026 with a solid emergency fund? Fantastic. Well done. Watch one day. Okay. Tushi Yaki says, my money lesson 2025, learning new venture, crypto. Fantastic. And then Nicholas. Okay, Nicholas says, I lost much money in agriculture. That's a money lesson. Yeah, that's a money lesson. Tammy Victor says, what worked for me? I invested a little in NGX for the first time. Wonderful, fantastic. Festus says, my number one money lesson was not being patient to hold the stock I bought at a fair price, and I sold it off out of fear, only to see the stock skyrocketing. Very powerful lesson. In fact, somebody had the same experience with First Bank. For First Bank, I hold a significant number of First Bank, shares of First Bank, significant, probably my highest number of shares, in the banking sector. And then for a long time, First Bank remained at some point it was 28 for a long time, 28, 29. Then it went to 31. Just kept on, like our people say, rigmaroling around that 31 for a long time, for over a year. Just, and then all of a sudden, within 1 week, First Bank went from 31 naira to 46. As of today, I think it closed at 50 naira, 50 kobo. Would you believe that? Would you believe that? So, if you had 1 million shares of First Bank just 3 weeks ago, it was worth 31 million. Today, you have added within 1 week and a few days, within 1 week trading and a few days, you've added 20-something million. That's how people are making money in the stock market. That's fantastic. Okay, thank you. There are many more money lessons here. So I will encourage you to go through it and then read from each other. Because to be honest with you, this is how we learn. This is how we learn. Okay, E. Michael says, I started watching your video after just leaving school. And from mid-year, I learned wealth is built slowly. I bought my first stock with 5K. And I kept putting with any I have. And I'm surprised with how far I've gotten and how much I've gotten. Delayed gratification is the key. Good. You guys are making me happy. So I think it's for people like you. I keep doing this thing. I'm surprised. I should have been seeing, I was expecting that when you see this, I'll be seeing 100,000 people joining this. Especially because it's free. 100,000 people. But you see, 100,000 people wouldn't join. But if I tell you today, okay, we will start praying every day at 8 p.m. from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight. And then we are going to pray. And then we pray against your enemies. And then we pray deliverance and healing and all those things, for you will see that overnight I will start having 1 million people. But this is okay for me. That one person is taking these things that I've been saying and is working for, helping people, helping families. So that's fantastic. Okay, so that's what I need you to do, all right? Your money lesson, what did money expose about your habits? Where did you underestimate money? What surprised you financially? Okay, so everybody needs to do that exercise in your journal. The biggest money lesson 2025 taught me was, then you complete it. Very important. So that's move number 1. We spent quite some time there, but it was worth it because that sets the stage. Okay, money move number 2. Money move number 2. So I call this one the Kiyosaki Audit. Robert Kiyosaki, God bless him, really helped me. I was working in Shell. I knew nothing about investing. Then I read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book was deliverance. The deliverance I never had. You know, I never had it in church, even though that I attend church and all that. But that book gave it to me. You know, Robert Kiyosaki said to me in that book, and of course later I went through his mentorship program, and he said, the poor people work for money, and the rich people make money work for them. That changed my life. I had never heard anything like that all my life. And this was just 2003. Everything changed. And then the book also said that asset is what puts money into your pocket. Liability is what takes money out of your pocket. Because at that time, I had asset and liability were big words. I only used to see it in company financial statements. And I used to think very big words, only chartered accountants. I used to hear chartered accountants, they would talk about asset, liability. And I was already a graduate working in Shell. I didn't know what asset and liabilities are. So I used to think some big thing. This guy just simplified it. He said, look, asset, put money in your pocket. Liabilities, take money out of your pocket. So it's very easy to know what your net worth is, because you just calculate all your assets, calculate all your liabilities, subtract your liabilities from your asset, and then you have your net worth. Okay, so move number 2 is the Kiyosaki audit. Identify your asset or liability habits. When it comes to the game of money, I'm telling you guys, it has very little to do with cash. It has very little to do. You see all these things with it? Money is 90% psychology. Maybe just 2% cash. And so money has a lot to do with your habits. Some of your habits are assets. Some of your habits are liabilities. And this is something no one can do for you. Okay? So you've got to, it is you, and you are an adult. You are the one that will audit your habits. Don't just audit your stuff. Don't just audit your bank account. Audit your car and your houses. You've got to audit your habits. Audit your habits. So what you need to do is look at your daily and weekly routines every day. If you look back, you see that you have routines, because we are all creatures of habit. The amount of money you have in your bank account plus, let's just say for your net worth, your current net worth is a report card of your habits. So if you're not happy with your financial situation, don't look at your bank account. Don't look at your stocks or crypto. Look at your habits. That is the source of your unhappiness. Your habits are the source of your financial anxiety and stress. Okay. So look at your daily and weekly routines. Write down one habit that currently acts as a financial liability habit. Okay, so let's do that exercise, because today is really coaching. I'm all out for you. I need to sweat your brains. I need you to think, and I need you to do it so that it becomes part of you. This is not motivational speech. You need to actually do it. So what I want you to do right now, in the comment section, everybody, make sure you are participating in this. That's the only way you get benefits from what I'm teaching you. So I need everybody to write down one habit, your habit that is currently acting as financial liability. Financial liability. I have it. So maybe I can give you some examples. Scrolling Temu or Amazon when you are bored. That's a liability. And I have one. Like when I'm really tired and I've had a very very, very busy day, tough meetings and things like that, and then I just get a break. I go straight to TikTok. That's a liability habit. And I'm just saying, oh, let me just look, through my feed for 5 minutes, and before I transition into my next activity. But it's a terrible habit, because I find that instead of using that interlude to just scroll, because not only does it distract me and then send my emotions spinning in different directions by all the kinds of data. My feed is very good. I've purged my feed, but you see, I open the feed. Then this one is talking about Donald Trump revoking H-1B visa. Then right under it, somebody is saying, oh, crypto bull run is gone. The 4-year cycle as we know it's gone. Then the next one is saying, these are the things doctors say we should not eat. Terrible. That's not good for the brain. TikTok is horrible. Not good for the brain to stay like that, because within 5 minutes, you've scrolled through 35 different subjects. That is massive chaos for the brain. The brain needs focus. But I have that habit. It's a destructive habit, and it's a liability habit. So what I've been trying to do in the past couple of months is, instead of scrolling, I take a nap, take a cat nap. I use 10 minutes, 15 minutes to sleep. And then when I wake up, I'm so refreshed. So, and I also limit, when to go to TikTok, because I've never gone to TikTok planning to do 5 minutes and done 5 minutes. The 5 minutes ends up being 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20, even 30 minutes. Okay, so give me your own. What are your liability habits? Everybody? Okay. Kolawole says emotional giving. Right. That's a good one. Emotional giving. That thing almost got me too. It almost got me, this season. There's just, I just put myself under pressure. I'm going to give to this organization. I'm going to give to this. I'm going to give, but I know it's good to do the giving, but it's really emotional. These people are not asking, they don't need it. But I just obligated myself that I'm going to give and all that. So, and it was conflicting with the investment opportunities that are happening right now. So the thing is, should I do emotional giving and throw away this 1 million? Or should I put it in a stock that I know that in another couple of months, it could do wonders, it could do 200%, like Better Glass, it could do 400%. And then I can easily take that 1 million at that time and then do this giving. But now if I'm emotional, I end up giving what I should be planting, the seed I'm planting, because I'm telling you, if you're playing in the NGX, November, December, everything you get, and most of whatever you get at that time, your 13th month, if you're working, all the money is account, most of it. I'm telling you that November, December are planting seasons. There are no seasons to buy, but do you know what? That's when people spend a lot of money for the festivities of Christmas. So that's a very good one, Kolawole. Thank you. Okay, Exotic Blue tells us his own liability habit is restaurants. I agree, restaurants can be very, very expensive. Exotic says Instagram. Okay. Ademowari says procrastination, yes, and emotional giving. Augustine says my liability habit is not putting a cap on what I spend in the church. Yep. People are sometimes, you're guilted into giving. You're guilted, but you're not supposed to be guilted into giving, because the apostle made it very clear. Say you should determine ahead of time, pray about it, and then determine in your heart what you want to give, what you should give before you go there. Okay. Festus says feeling lazy to read financial books while paying much time watching content creator podcasts. Okay. E. Michael says snacks and drinks, scrolling, which leads to buying more data than necessary. This is brilliant. Yeah. Do you know, I never connected it. I never thought about it. I never thought about it. I've seen people who slide into my DM every time to ask for money, to beg for handout. But these people are always online. And I said, wait a minute, doesn't it take money? How did they get the money to always be online? So that's a good liability. Watch one day says, my number one financial liability is buying Hennessy every month. Wow. How much? Tell us, how much is Hennessy, by the way? That's not my area, so I wouldn't imagine whether you are talking about $10, $5 or something. So how much is Hennessy, by the way? Tell us in the comment section. Ibube says, my financial liability is impulse buying. Very good, but you're working on it. I learned not to be paying myself last or nothing. I am learning now to always pay myself first before paying anyone else. Fantastic. Richard Comba says, weddings contribution. Yeah, that's a liability habit. My goodness, I don't know whether it happens in your area, but I had to put a stop to it, by changing the privacy setting in my WhatsApp, because this year, I just wake up one day and then I've been added. There was a time, like within 1 week, I was added to committee of friends, 4 committee of friends of burials. I didn't know these people. But the people who are burying them believe, because they know me and they have my contact and that I'm a money bag. I didn't know people get that impression that I have lots of money. So they just add me. So I figured out that there's a way to make it impossible for them to, and that's how I got peace. Because that contribution could be crazy. And then they put you under pressure because now everybody, I don't know whether they actually give that money. Everybody, this one say 200,000 naira, 150,000. Meanwhile, you don't even know this guy that they are burying. And then people are putting you under pressure because you are seeing 200,000, 100 and something thousand. Before you know it, you say, okay, I would have liked to do 5,000, but because everybody knows you, you are put under pressure too. So I just put, so that's a terrible habit. Very true. Tushi Yaki says, on ending social media. Okay, all right. Tammy says, emotional giving also affected me, especially with family members. Yeah. Nicholas says, Chinese TV drum. I don't know what that is. Is that a game or something? And then Tammy also said, sport betting without gaining. Yeah, that's a liability habit. And then Nicholas again says, being slow on applying what I have planned to do. All right, very good. Because the truth is, when you name these liabilities, then you are a step ahead, to dealing with them. So now, we won't stop at liabilities because we also have financial asset habits. Okay, so you can replace the financial liabilities with the financial asset. So I need you to write in the comment section, what are your financial asset habits? What are the habits? Because what happened to me was when I turned 50 years, 10 years ago, I sat down and asked myself, what were the things, the habits, the things that served me in the first half of my life that I want to bring into the next half of my life? I also asked myself, what were the things that did not serve me in the first half that I must never import into the next half of my life? Why? Because if I repeat the same errors of my past, then my next 50 years will be like my last, and I don't want it to be that way. So in the same way, you have your financial liability habit, you also have your financial asset habit. So example of mine is reading 10 pages of a finance book, from my book recommendations or book list. I have a really very good one. And then you will never catch me without a book, either physical book or reading it on my devices, okay? So that is one of mine. And Kolawole Samson says, I invest minimum of 1 hour every day learning about financial literacy on YouTube, and my knowledge about money has changed. Fantastic. Watch one that says is 55,000 naira for Hennessy. Hennessy is some kind of alcoholic drink, right? 55,000 naira. Oh my goodness. If I had that at the beginning of this year and I put that 55,000 naira in Presco, I would have had 55,000 naira in Presco. I would have turned it into almost 200,000 naira within 8 months. So, what can help you? Watch one day. Thank you for being very transparent. Okay, so he said, okay, that you watched from my videos when I spoke about banana and groundnut as a money-eating demon. You're very right. Excellent. Okay, I'm so glad people are learning from my channel, learning real life, not people coming to tell you motivational stuff that don't have any grounding. Motivation is very good, but when it comes to money, you need to put your feet on the ground and then let your head have some wisdom. Yeah, that's true. That's true. What helps me? Two things help me now to deal with that problem of spending anyhow like that. One is my hunger to invest because of the future. Now, because for me, I started all over again in my 50s because I made so much money blunders in the first half of my life. All that income I earned working for Shell, working for Chevron, working for Shell the second time, all that money that ran into possibly over $1 million over my career. When I quit Shell, none of it. I was broke. In fact, I was owing. So I literally started all over again in my 50s. And I tell you, it's going great. And I am proof that it's never late to start. It's going real great. So my hunger to invest for not just my future, but my legacy. Because I keep thinking about my grandchildren. I tell my children, I'm literally not leaving anything for them. And thank God, they're all doing well on their own. And because I taught them the same thing I know. And they're even better investors than myself. But I'm looking at my grandchildren, their children. I keep telling them, I'm looking at their children. And I'm looking at their children's children. How can I set up a generational wealth system? Look at the Rockefellers. Look at the Fords. Look at all these, the Rothschilds. Or Rothschild, right from the 1700s till today, they are still very powerful and rich family. Look at the Rockefellers. That's what I want to set up. And why not you? So generational wealth. So that drives me. The scripture said that Jesus, for the joy that was set before him, that he endured the cross, despising his shame. When you see him crucified, you'll probably see them put a little towel over his waist. No, that guy was crucified stark naked. The Roman soldiers were not that. They were not that. They were not that classy or something. Even look at soldiers today. Look at even war soldiers today. They will make you remove your clothes and roll by the dust. That's African soldiers. I don't think I've seen U.S. soldiers doing that. In case a U.S. Marine is listening. And then they will make you do all that. So you think that when they crucified him, that he had something, that they were decent enough to cover his body. No, they beat him, they tore his body, they did all kinds of things. But you see, he said that he found strength to do that because of the joy that was set before him, because he knew the resurrection was coming. He knew the incredible things set before him. The same thing with investing. And that's also what helps with delayed gratification. That's also what helps me to not buy Hennessy. Today, I can deprive myself of 55,000 naira, a bottle of drink. That probably goes, I don't know how many days you drink 55,000. I hear that some people just sit down and drink it off in one sitting with their friends, So that helps me. That desire to invest helps me. Then the joy set before me helps me with delayed gratification. Yeah, it might hurt a little bit today, but that what is set before me, that joy that is set before me, that ultimate triumph. So am I not buy the Rolls Royce today? Am I not show off in the social media that I have, big mansions? I mean, I don't have big mansions. I don't have all these things today, but it's fine. It's fine. What is coming? So because of it, I now look at the second thing. I now look at the future value of that money, because I have seen in the process of my investing, I have seen 1 million naira turn to 10 million, turn to 20 million with time and patience. I've seen compounding. I've seen the insane power of compounding, of dividend reinvesting like as soon as Presco paid me dividend, I transferred the money direct straight, to investment account and bought Presco again. As soon as Zenith Bank paid me, I transferred the money without, there were things I could have done with the money, with the dividends. I said, no, let's compound it. I've seen the miracle of compounding. And then for my young friend who started investing with 5,000 naira, continue with that consistency. I'm telling you, in the next 5 years, people will not recognize you. Because people are looking at 5,000 naira. They don't know that 5,000 is a seed. It's a seed. When you pick one orange seed, you can never count the number of oranges in it. You can count, like they say, you can count the number of seeds in an orange. But you can never count the number of oranges in one seed. If you consistently do it and then continue compounding with consistency, that 5,000 naira in 10 years, you will shock yourself. You are in your 20s right now. If you do this consistently, before you turn 40, you will never need to work another day in your life. And I'm going to tell you guys more about it during the portfolio planning workshop coming up next Sunday. I'm going to put the link to register in the description section. Okay, so Exotic says paying off my student loans, fantastic. That's asset habit. Okay, asset habit. Okay. Isaiah says investing in the NGX weekly, fantastic. All right, and then Ademore says watching financial videos on YouTube, fantastic, great asset, great asset. Okay, Afolabi also says watching financial videos on YouTube and Facebook, fantastic. Augustine says my best asset right now is investing in financial literacy and mentorship, fantastic. Okay, and then EDK Gospel says relearning on financial habits apart from school theories. That's a good one. I feel you, because they never taught us in school. Kolawole says you can create generational wealth by getting a trust to protect your wealth for generations coming after you. Absolutely. I'm actually making inquiries, and I've been talking with a couple of the legal firms, that do that. And I would appreciate if you have some ideas to share with me. I would appreciate that you do that. And then if you're already doing it, please, I'll be very happy that you let me know. That setting up a trust is a must, for me and then for many of you. First says, listening to the session of financial coaching session by people like my coach, Obo Awokobo. Very good for you. Okay, Machiavelli said, my asset habit is listening to your sessions whenever you are live. Fantastic habit. All right, very good. Okay, so that is what I want you to do. Now, let's move on to the money move that most people skip. I talked about money move number 3, the one that most adults skip. What is this money move? Create a 10 times vision, 10x vision for the next 12 months. 12 months is a long time to 10x, because we, by default, were trained to do incremental growth, incremental visioning, incremental planning. When you look at our vision board, we only put things there. And then one of the worst things I've heard, when people talk about setting SMART goals, they say the goal should be realistic. You are going nowhere if you can set realistic goals. Nobody goes anywhere with realistic goals. The people who move the world are people who set unrealistic goals and then figure out how to make it realistic. Wow, did I just say that? Wow. The people who rule the world, I think that's a quote to put down. The people who rule the world are people who set unrealistic goals and then figure out a way to make them realistic. My goodness. I need to write this down. I didn't believe I just said that. So the people that rule the world or the people that move the world are those who set unrealistic goals and then figure out a way to make them realistic. So don't set realistic goals. And then some people have goals. Many adults have goals, but they don't have a clear picture. And I'm not just talking about fantasy. I'm talking about a clear vision, a clear direction. So you can ask yourself, for instance, if my finances were to be 10 times better in 12 months, what would be different? I can tell you that this works because in the past 2-3 years, I've been doing 10x. I've been doing 10x every year. So this is not theory. So how do you do it? You ask yourself, if my finances were 10 times better by December 31, 2026, what will be different? Powerful coaching question. And then you need to sit down, vision it. I've actually, like I told you, I've actually done this is my little journal. Okay, journaling into 2026. I've done exactly what I'm telling you to do. If you look at all my entries in my journal, because I asked myself, okay, if I were to 10x my net worth, my portfolio by December 31, 2026, what would be different? How would my stress level change? Do you know, for instance, there's an amount of money you start making every day or you start making every month, and your stress level will dramatically go down, and then your cash confidence, what I call cash confidence, will go up. And then you ask yourself, what would I stop tolerating? Okay, what would I stop tolerating? So Robert Kiyosaki always says that money follows clarity. Clarity is one of the most important strategies, one of the most important things you can always have for yourself. So, and then in creating your 10x vision, you don't necessarily need a long list. In fact, mine is just 3 items. My 10x list but because it's personal, I'm not going to read them out to you. But so what I actually did here, I need to cover that just in case. But what I actually did here, I don't know if you can see the questions. So this is what my 10x vision prompt looked like. So I said, what 3 bold goals, when achieved, would make 2026 unforgettable? So you can actually do that. You can copy that or take a screenshot of this if you see it. Okay, and if you can read it. What 3 bold goals, when achieved, would make 2026 unforgettable? What 3 audacious goals am I targeting to make in 2026 my most transformative years? What 3 wins would define 2026 as my most legendary year ever? And this is where I defined it. I can't show you. So 3, just 3. You don't need a long list. And so you can write it plainly. You can write it plainly in your journal. It's important to write it down. Don't carry it in your head. By this time next year, my money life looks like this. This step alone will separate drifters from builders in 2026, because there are only going to be 2 kinds of people in 2026, drifters and builders. Which one are you? Is that money move number 3 that will determine. Money move number 4, build your personal growth assets. Build your personal growth assets. A lot of people, most adults don't do this. And most people skip this. They're not. But if you want to grow your relationship, your finances, your health, whatever it is you want to scale, you want to grow, you must put primary value in growing yourself, because it's when you develop yourself to become a person of value, incredible value, then you magnetize value. You don't make wealth, you don't make money by running after money, by pursuing it, by making money by all means, like a lot of people do. They go into rituals, they go into all kinds of, trying to make money quick. But you first of all build yourself, cultivate that. If you want to earn $1 million, because I have a place I'm cultivating myself, that's why I'm speaking. If you want to make $1 million a month, $1 million a year, cultivate $1 million person. You got to ask yourself, am I a $1 million personality? When you enter a room, do people in the room recognize you as a $1 million person? I don't know how many of you watched the recent fight, the boxing match between Anthony Joshua and that unserious guy, Jake Paul. Is that what they call him? Jake Paul or something? I didn't watch it, but the clips of that fight have been showing up consistently. Like, that was all TikTok showed, made sure everybody saw it, yesterday. And so I saw that fight. And Anthony Joshua, I actually came to like him, not because of the fight, but the guy has a presence. He had the presence, when he entered the place, and the way he talked, so calm, so cool. And you can tell that, oh my goodness, you can tell that guy is something else. The way he talks, it's like every quote, everything that comes out of his mouth is a quotable quote. You can tell somebody he has the mindset of a winner. So I want to study that guy actually. And I heard that he's extraordinarily rich and wealthy. He has incredible property in London, real estate and things like that. He's a serious investor. He's a part owner of some top clubs. And the guy he's only 36. So, but before Anthony Joshua could become the person that they paid, was it $90 million? They paid him for a fight. $90 million to show up. He had to command a $90 million presence. How many people will invite you to come and fight? You'll go and fight and they will give you $90 million. On what basis now? All of you here. How many of you will Netflix say, okay, let's fix a match. If you appear in this match, we'll pay you $90 million. Are you getting the point I'm making? All of them, Cristiano Ronaldo. Pardon me, I'm not into all this. Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi. These guys just appear and money comes over. And then people like the president of the United Arab Emirates, President Trump, met with the footballer Ronaldo. President Trump, the most powerful man in the world at the moment, hosted Cristiano Ronaldo. When is President Trump going to host you? On what basis now? On what basis? When is he going to host me? I mean, like, on what basis? You get my point? So these guys are attracted because of the work they put in themselves. Everybody likes Cristiano Ronaldo's success. Everybody likes Messi's success. But very few people think about what these guys put in behind the scene. Insane practice every day. Do you know there's some kind of foods you eat, your delicacies, that they will never touch because of their calling? Do you know that there are things you drink that they will never drink because of the discipline of their calling? So because of it, they command value. They command value. These guys are paid insane amounts of money. These soccer people, Messi, I don't even know how much. Somebody can check it and put it in the comment section. How much that guy earns, or how much Cristiano Ronaldo earns. And I think my favorite of them of all time was Ronaldinho. I don't know. I think it's probably my favorite footballer of all time. I don't know many of them. And then maybe Neymar Jr. I just watch clips of them. I don't watch television, but I watch, these guys are extremely skilled. But the reason I follow them and watch them a lot is because of how they had grown themselves to become the kind of people who command the value. So everybody talks about their wealth. Everybody talks about their mansion, talks about, their cars. But very few people talk about what these people do to build up themselves. It's exactly the same thing. If you want to build your wealth, it's exactly the same thing. Look at Dangote literally attracts wealth. The way honey attracts, does honey attract bee? You get what I mean? He attracts it. Cameroon, a whole country will call him, come, we will give you land, come and set up whatever. Ethiopia, call him. South Africa, Ghana, they are calling Dangote, they are inviting him, they come. And they even give him money. The refinery he built, did he use his money? He used other people's money. Why? The guy has built up himself. So you, rather than going ahead chasing Cristiano Ronaldo's wealth, put in the time to build yourself. Rather than you going to chase Dangote and then beg for handout on social media and look for giveaway. Build yourself up, okay? So, everyone plans to save in 2026. They plan to save and budget for holiday, budget for vacations, budget for all kinds of things, but very few people budget for their growth. I budget. In fact, there was a year I spent 35% of my earning. 35% of my earning. That was a lot on personal growth. That was a year I remember that I certified as executive coach because it took traveling to the US, lodging there. It was the same year that I did my MBTI certification, which was also in Gainesville, in Florida, at their headquarters. So I spent a lot of money. It was the same year that I also attended the mastermind of Dean Jackson, who has been called the Buddha of marketing. It was also in Florida, in Celebration, Florida. It was the same year. So I spent 35-40% of my income on personal development. And I tell you, things exploded. It showed up the next year. So budget, you can call it your personal growth fund. You should have a certain percentage required of your income for growing yourself. So budget for growth, because that's what wealthy people do. Wealthy people budget for growth before they budget for pleasure. But poor people who struggle financially, budget for pleasure before they even budget for their growth. Most Nigerians would rather go to a comedy, a night of 1,000 laughs or something, all these comedy things that they hold around this time, or they go for a show where they will buy VIP table. They will pay for VIP table for 5 million. Than buy a book that can change their lives. Okay? So pay yourself in knowledge first. Budget for growth before you budget for pleasure. So you need to write down all the learning that you want to invest in. So what I usually do is I look at my 10x goal and I say, okay, what are the gaps in skills? Because like Dan Sullivan will say, that the skills that took you out of Egypt are not the same skills that will take you into the promised land. If you are starting today to write down a 10x vision for the next 12 months, it also implies that you are going to look for the 10x skills, because your current skills, if you continue to apply your current skills and current level of knowledge, then you can't 10x in December. Is somebody getting this? Yeah, are you getting it? Type yes in the comment section if you're getting that. Therefore, you want to 10x, Doesn't it make sense that you plan how you are going to, what's going to be the learning that you are going, that's going to take you there, because you're going to need a different, upgrade your skills, a different set of learning and things like that to be able to get there. So write down the learning. Okay, I want to learn investing in crypto. I want to learn everything I need to know about blockchain, or I want to learn about the stock market, everything I need to know about the stock market. I want to learn even technical trading, reading and understanding candlesticks and things like that. Everything you need to learn to get you there. So the things you need to learn need to align with those top 3 things that define your vision. Okay, so it's not a wish list. Write down that becomes your curriculum. And so these resources can be like books. There's a book I would recommend. That book was really great, for me this year, Psychology of Money by, I think it's Morgan Housel or something like that, by Psychology of Money. It's really good. If you haven't read my book, The Financial Freedom for Every Youth and Financial Freedom for Every Busy Professional, I think you're missing out. Okay, so it also includes in your wish list, your curriculum wish list should include books. It should also include courses and seminars that you will attend. If you look here, I have courses I've written down in my vision board that I plan to do next year. I want to go for a course with Strategic Coach USA, and it's 10,000 naira. Strategic Coach, you can check it out online. I have a couple more courses and things, and a mastermind. I have on my list there Myron Golden's mastermind. It's a curriculum, Myron Golden's mastermind, because if I'm going to do the sort of thing that I'm looking at doing before December, I'm going to need capability. I'm going to need learning. So make a list of the courses. It might be online courses in Coursera, and then on my page, I have courses along the lines of the things I've been teaching. Then it will also include your masterminds or coaching, because wealth is a team sport. You can only get to a certain level trying to build wealth alone. But at a certain point, you need a mastermind of people who think like you, people who are going, who also, who challenge your mindset. One of the things I plan for my mentorship group next year is to bring in experts from different parts of the world to teach on specific things. Teach on crypto, teach on real estate investing, teach on even stock market, people who understand it better than myself, to teach on stock market. There's a lady in the US I'm going to bring to teach us about using insurance to create like this trust we're talking about, and then to create perpetual income. So you need to be in a community like that. You need to be in a community like that. Like what I share sometimes, in the group about opportunities coming in the stock market, sometimes you hear it long before other people. And then some of you who were in the Financial Fitness Challenge in May, I gave you some stock recommendations. I published it in the group and gave you. Some of you took it. Somebody made 20 million naira within from that recommendation alone. People made tens of millions, because in that recommendation, for instance, I put ICO there. ICO was 1 naira 60 kobo. If you check it in April, May this year. And I told people to buy. Some people bought like 1 million. Okay, some people bought like 1 million units. ICO went from 1 naira 60 kobo to 4 naira something at some point. I think it's 3 naira 90 something kobo, a little under today. So that 1 million you put there became 4 million within the year. And those people were able to take advantage of, because they were in a community where something like that, could be shared. And I shared information recently about Tantalizer, what's happening in Tantalizer, because Tantalizer is probably set to blow up, because they are totally remodeling their business. And not only that, they have a standing contract for the next 5 years to provide certain categories of seafood to an American firm. So they're going to be earning in dollars. They also bought, because they also want to go into entertainment. They are diversifying from just restaurant. So they've bought some entertainment infrastructure. So you can see, when you're in a community where you can hear things like that, you can position and watch your money grow. It's terrible to think that people want to be wealthy and they don't belong to a mastermind. Even if you can't pay for one, start yours. Get people around you. I think it's Napoleon Hill's mastermind principle. Fantastic. If you've read the Think and Grow Rich, that's fantastic. And all these billionaires, all of them, Elon Musk, all these people, the Google people, they all mastermind. Richard Branson has an island somewhere where you see all these people masterminding. You will never know because press is not allowed there, so you don't see it in the media. Richard Branson masterminds with Elon Musk and a couple more people. Elon Musk will leave his place, in the United States, go to Richard Branson's house, and then they spend time together talking, exchanging ideas. And then you want to be wealthy, you're on your own, in that your whatever, and you can't spend money on mastermind. Start your own because it's important, okay? Part of your curriculum also means tools. Okay, tools that you're going to use. For instance, AI has become incredibly important, even in the world of investing. I pay for ChatGPT, $20 every month. $20 every month. So they charge me, that's about 32,000 naira, So there are tools like that will help to get to your 10x. Now, part of this planning too involves the funds, the money that you're going to use to buy this thing. I already talked about that you want to systematically set a percentage of your income for your personal growth. Make it a percentage. If you earn 100K, make 10 to 20%. Just systemize it, because it's important that your mind, your mentality becomes used to it as a system, that for every X amount I make, I'm going to invest this on myself first. So it could be to use to buy a book or to buy, and then the interesting thing is that these things are tax deductible. Did you know that if you pay for Financial Fitness Challenge, my mentorship class, the coaching, it's tax deductible? Did you know that even with the new tax policy coming? So it's something that can be written off. So you need to think about that. So what would it cost to buy the books? What would it cost for the courses and things like that? So the number is your first savings goal, whatever it is. That should be, and then you can label it my growth. Okay? So I can't stress that enough, that move enough, as Dave Ramsey often reminds people, if you don't plan where your money goes, it will disappear. All right? So what knowledge will make you more valuable this year? That's a very important question. Actually, somebody should type that in the comment section. What knowledge will make me more valuable? Because I've established that the more valuable you are, the wealthier you become. So type that and then answer that question. And then again, what environment will stretch me? When you start reading, some of the people you call your friends, your inner circle, will disappear automatically. Because your friends, your relationships can also be assets. It can also be liabilities. And many people have relationship liabilities. And that is what is going to keep you from becoming financially successful. Relationship liabilities. So I would also recommend that you make a list of people in your life right now that are liabilities. Guys, cut them off. I did it. I cut them off because at some point our spirits were not facing the same direction. It was just, they were dragging me back. They are nice people, nothing wrong with them, but I just found that our destinations are not the same. Our values are no longer the same. So make a list of the people that should disappear in your life for your money to grow and for you to be more committed to your purpose, okay? And then write a simple list of these things and then attach rough costs. And this is capital investment in yourself. Okay, so move number Which number have we done now? Okay, somebody who is following. We've done move number 4. Okay, move number 4. So let's go to move number 5. Okay, so move number 5 is simplify your money system. You know, I'm a systems person. Nobody cries about systems more than I do in this part of the world. Systemizing your money. Putting systems to your money. There are 3 subsystems of wealth building, of building wealth for anybody, whether it's Dangote or the man who sleeps under the bridge. There are 3 subsystems. Number 1, making money, money making skills. That's 3 M's. Money making. Number 2, money managing skills. That's managing money. Number 3, multiplying money. Make money, manage money, multiply money. These are the only 3 activities. And if you're doing anything that doesn't align with these 3 things, you're not going to be wealthy. So now that means that you need to systemize these 3 things. You need to systemize how you make money. You know, I would normally recommend that you have at least 2 streams of income. At least 2 streams of income. One stream takes care of your survival needs. All these things about rent, your family, food, grocery, energy, children's school fees and all that, they've got to be paid because that's your survival money. Let one income take care of it. Let one income take care of it. It could be your salary from your 9 to 5 job. You say, okay, you dedicate all this for taking care of your family. Okay, no questions asked. But you see, your family also needs a future. So build another income stream. It could be a side hustle. Sell something. Guys, I made a lot of money this year selling honey. I had to go to the interior villages where they still harvest honey. The way my people used to harvest honey in the early 1970s. I took weeks until I found this very hunter who is trustworthy, who has integrity, doesn't mix his honey, doesn't use insecticides, to scare the bees away. He uses natural leaf like the people in those days used to. They used to use smoke to chase the bees away. But these days, people use, they put foam and then soak it in some chemical. There's this chemical Nigerians call otapiapia. And then they put it there on the honeycomb, and then the bees run away or fall and die, and then they go. So I saw people who do that. And then when I saw them and saw their processes, I said, no, I can't take that honey. That in the process, there's going to be contamination. So I found this guy after months of serious journalistic investigation, because I use honey, I don't use sugar. And I thought, hey, if I also find something that solves my problem, there are other people who are not sure about the honey that they buy from different kinds of places. And I sold honey. I made millions selling honey. The honey season has also started again. I'm going to sell. That's a side hustle. So I can use the money I'm making from honey. In fact, I told you that when you have a hunger for investing, that the money to invest will magically appear. That was one of the ways that the money I invested this year appeared, because as it was coming from the honey, from the money coming from the honey, I poured it straight into my portfolio, and it showed. Okay, sell something so you can have a second stream of income. Now, what will you do with this second stream of income? Purely for building your future, investing. Nothing should touch it. Start a side hustle. You and your husband, or you and your wife, start a side hustle. And then don't touch that money. Don't spend it for anything. Don't buy food with it, even if this other money finishes. Spend it entirely for building your portfolio, for investing. My goodness. You can have, in 2026, you can't be dealing with one stream of income at this level. If it was 1950s or 1960s, in those days, when our parents and grandparents, had one stream of income, they worked in one company forever. And then the company took care of them, took care of everything, bought car for them, bought fridge for them, bought house for them, and then trained their children. That was in the 50s and 60s, maybe some part of 70s. Those days are gone. So you need to have systems for earning money. You need to have systems for managing it, for allocating, for budgeting. And then you need to have systems for investing. Multiplying also involves giving, because giving is a wealth strategy that many people don't know. And then when I talk about giving, I'm talking about spirit-led giving, not emotional giving, like we said earlier, and not giving that you're guilted into, but you're giving to real needs, because there are real needs. There are real needs around me every day, and then giving. The other day, it happens all the time. I was at the market, and then a woman came and priced something. The seller said it was 150. It's some kind of spice or something that they use for cooking. The seller said it's 150. The woman begged for 100. He said, no, that is 150. And she started going. I told the woman privately, call her back, give it to her. So sometimes it's just tiny money like that. Doesn't mean anything to you, but it means a lot to people, because there are people who 100 naira would keep them from having dinner that day. There are people, families, going to bed hungry. So God gives us opportunities to give, because when you give, giving opens doors for you, opens incredible doors. On one occasion, I did a project, a GIS project for an organization. And then they paid me. As soon as the money hit my account, God said to me, that money is not yours. Don't touch it. Give it to widows. I didn't even know widows. So I did not touch a single kobo from that money. I sent it off. I was calling people, do you know a widow? Do you know a widow? Do you know a widow? Different parts of it. They said they knew a widow. I sent all that money for them. And I can tell you, these things are opening opportunities. My wife and I have given out about 5 or 6 cars, 5 vehicles, 1 SUV, 1 Corolla, 2 minivans, 2 cars. We've given out. And we've never lacked transportation. And then incidentally, we've also received cars. So in 2026, don't forget that part of giving. It should be part of what you plan for. Systematic giving. What cause does God put in your heart? Don't be guilted or coerced to give anywhere, by all these religious things going on. Don't be coerced to give. Be very deliberate. That's the kind of giving that God not only loves it, but that's the kind of giving that opens door for you. And then you're not giving because you're expecting back. You're giving because it's a godly thing to do, to give to others, who need help. So you need a system even for your giving. It's not just you wake up one day, somebody tells you, something, then you give. No. And we have people that we have also, that are not our children, we just adopted them and sent them to the university, through the university. And they are not even from one country. It's a systematic giving. Okay? So you have to have a system for that, because giving opens doors. You can type that in the comment section. Giving opens doors. All right. So simplify your money system. That's what is important. And then part of that simplifying is reduce the number of accounts you actively use. I have accounts, so many, and these things are so distracting. The accounts are stemmed from the time that the banks were doing their recapitalization. During Soludo's time, they forced everybody, open accounts, And what are you doing with 7 or 8 accounts? In fact, I want to simplify that, because I've also created a prompt that allows me to analyze my financial systems, AI tool that allows me to analyze my financial statements, because I need to see what my money is doing. Many of you don't look at your financial statement. So you can look at my financial statement for the whole year. So if I do it for 1 or 2 banks, it's easier than doing it for 8 different banks. So consolidate your account. Then cancel subscriptions that you no longer require. Simplify. Some of you subscribe to everything that is subscribable. You subscribe to MTN, you subscribe to Starlink, you subscribe to this and all that, Airtel, and then you have all these subscriptions. Like it was me at some point. I had all of them. And then I had Glow, I had MTN, and they were not working here. So I decided, okay, let's do Starlink. So cancel all that, systemize your money, simplify that, make your money easier to track, not harder. You need to track, because if you can't measure what's going on in your finances, you can't manage it. Remember what Peter Drucker said, that if you don't measure something, you can't manage it. It's difficult. You're going to find it difficult managing that. Okay. So strategy number 6, money move number 6. So I call this the Classen ritual. That is George Classen. Remember, The Richest Man in Babylon? That's another book that strongly helped my financial life. All right. So George Classen wrote about the golden stream of consistent saving. If you haven't read The Richest Man in Babylon, please read it. Make it one of your reading lists for 2026. So this ritual is to schedule your monthly money date. That's money move number 7. Schedule monthly money date. A lot of people don't face their money. And then in our part of the world, we continue to say God is in control. No, he's not. God wants you to plan, to think, to reflect. The scripture says that a wise person gives thoughts to his ways. You can't just be moving. No recording, no reflecting, no whatever. No. So face your money. Protect the stream of your money. So you must tend to your finances regularly, or weeds will grow back. Many of us, our financial landscape is filled with weeds because we are not tending it. So you want to schedule your monthly date. You can open a calendar for all of 2026, and then you can say, okay, you block 30 minutes on the first Sunday of every month. That will be enough. Just call it my money and growth date. Date your finances the way you take somebody that you love on a date. If you love your finances and love your family, the people you care for, love your financial future, have a date with your money. Because it's something that impacts literally everything, So when you do, you will now check in every month. You will check in on your progress toward that 10x vision that you created earlier. And then you can now look at your growth fund and then feed it and decide what is the next book, what is the next course, the next mastermind, the next money move I should make. That's what you do on your money date. And then you can review your asset and liability habits. So you have a way to track your money progress. So by scheduling it ahead of time, scheduling it now, you now make it a ritual. And you can actually set it up on your calendar automatically. Just block that time. You can do it for the whole year. So for me, we have a time that my family meets every week. It's already blocked. Like in my calendar, it says never ending. And that time is blocked. And one of the interesting things I found is once you block time for something valuable, for something important, it actually stays. Okay, so that is money move number 7, to schedule your monthly date. Okay, now money move number 7. No, we just did money move number 6, right? So money move number 7 is to create your portfolio, because your portfolio is the vehicle. Create it before January 1st, because that's the vehicle that will put all these 10x things. So you create a 10x portfolio. So it's not just enough writing the vision. You create your 10x portfolio. So the way I do mine, I look at the assets I currently have, mostly stocks. I have some real estate, but I'm focusing on stocks. So I pick each of them and say, all right, this particular stock, by December 2026, if I am to 10x my net worth, what will the 10x of this stock be? So maybe right now I'm holding 10,000 units, and 10x that will be what? 100,000 by. So I need to plan my portfolio. I need to give it, because the power in planning your portfolio, pre-planning it ahead of time, telling yourself this is where I'm going to focus on. The power in that is that it gives you focus. So as money is entering your hand, you know exactly where to allocate it. So people will come, there'll be distractions. They will say, oh, this one, this stock is going to. No, it's not part of your portfolio. It's not part of your strategy. You've got to have a portfolio strategy. For instance, you can say, because in 2026, Dangote plans to take his refinery public, take it to the Nigerian stock market and probably a couple of other stock markets, and then he has publicly declared that he's going to be paying interest. Your portfolio planning can say, all right, I don't know when this IPO comes, I don't know how much is going to come up with, but I want to set a portfolio target that once it comes out, I'm going to have 100,000 units of it. So you know ahead of time, and then you start building for it, because it's already in your portfolio plan that you're going to hold Dangote refinery, which in fact I will actually encourage everybody to do, because it's going to be one of the biggest wealth transfer opportunities of 2026. Then in my portfolio, I said, okay, I will hold maximum 2 banking stocks. So I'm holding maximum 3. And because I did this same exercise I'm telling you to do at the beginning of this year, there have been lots of opportunities. I hold Zenith, GT Bank, and First Bank only. But within the year, because of what I'm telling you, the portfolio planning, there have been incredible opportunities. With UBA, with Fidelity. Fidelity is an incredible stock. I mean, I was so tempted, to put in money in Fidelity, to even do like 1 million units of Fidelity. I was so tempted, but it wasn't part of my whatever, because I don't want to have so many banks, in my portfolio. 3 for me is enough, because I planned it. So when the opportunities came, in fact, Access Bank, Fidelity, and UBA, incredible buying opportunities even now. Very, very tempting. But because I have planned my portfolio that I do not want to be exposed to more than 3 banks, these 3 banks in my portfolio, I didn't touch those ones. But if you don't plan your portfolio before the year, then anything, this one, they just bring, oh, this bank, Sterling Bank, you buy. Oh, Wema Bank is going to, you buy. Oh, Fidelity, you buy. At the end of the year, you see your portfolio is scattered, no direction, just scattered everywhere. And then what you would have earned from staying with, trimmed winners, maybe you could have earned 10 million in dividends, but because you scattered the whole thing all over the place, you are earning like 1.5 million. So do you see why portfolio intelligence is important, and why it is a major move? It's a mad move to sit down and plan your portfolio. What am I going to put money in? what sectors of the economy are likely to do extremely well. Like insurance in the Nigerian economy is going to do very well, because when they roll out, start executing the insurance, new insurance policy, insurance companies are going to do very well. They're also going to recapitalize and all that. So this is the time I'm thinking through these things. I said, okay, top maximum three or two. So instead of scattering all my capital on 10 insurance stocks, I asked myself, what specific two? Okay, so like right now, I have picked custodian, and then I have picked NIM. There's also ICO. That's it. There are opportunities in many others, gaining insurance, universal insurance, all those things. No, because I've planned it. So your portfolio intelligence helps you to focus, your investment direction in the year. So do you see, when you now make all these 7 moves, do you see how powerful you become? Because you're now stepping into January 1 with clarity. Aren't you feeling it? When you make these 7 moves, you're stepping into January 1 with clarity and confidence. Now, there are going to be economic turbulences, but because you've stepped in with clarity, nothing that happens in the economy or happens in the politics of the country will shake you. And then, should there be a bear market or there's a bad news that happens or something mid-market, and then, the market dips, you are not disturbed, because you already set your 10x vision, and then you planned your portfolio, and then you're executing consistently, and then you're leveraging your assets, your habit assets and consistency. Then, like they say in Pidgin, nothing do you. Because next year there's going to be serious financial turbulences is going to happen. That's the more reason you want to make these money moves right now before January 1. All right, so my question is, how many people will do it? How many people will go back, listen to this again, and then actually take their journal and make these money moves? Tell me in the comment section, how many people will do it? Because at this same time, next year, we will revisit. Okay, I'm getting some commitment. Fantastic. I'm getting commitments. That's great. All right. So, I will encourage you, go back, listen to this, share it with people you care about, especially your family members. And then those people who beg your money, share this, because it's important that they themselves will learn these things and start earning income for themselves, so that they will stop disturbing you. So share it. And if you're watching us, you're joining us for the first time, you are not yet subscribed to my channel, please do that. Take a moment and do that right now. And when you subscribe, hit that notification bell, so that anytime I'm live, you will get the notification. And then if you haven't pressed your love button for the live session, please do so. And those of you joining us for the first time, we do this every weekday, Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. GMT. And because money doesn't take holiday, we're going to be here Christmas Day, because it is a weekday tomorrow, I believe. What's tomorrow? I think tomorrow is Thursday or something. All right. And then we will also be here first, because this might not be the time for celebration for you. There's no celebration if you're not financially free. Yeah, there's no celebration. Of course, you should enjoy and have your quiet time with God, and then be thankful for the gift of Christ, to the world, and then be thankful for the new year. But don't get carried away, drinking Hennessy and clubbing and overeating, eating rice, because again, the day doesn't even know that it's Christmas Day. It's the day, as far as the day is concerned, it doesn't know that it's Christmas Day. It doesn't know that it's New Year. It's our interpretation, the constructs that we gave it. And the day will just come and go like any other day. It's 24 hours. It's not going to be 27 hours, because it is New Year Day. All right. So, Merry Christmas to all of you. Tomorrow, I'll still be here tomorrow. For those of you who wouldn't be drunk or have overeaten, to be part of it, is a commitment I give to myself. So, and I'll keep it. So, whatever happens, Merry Christmas, and keep showing up because you have no idea what's coming your way next. I love you, and then you have a good one. Good night.